Hello and welcome to the class of 2024. We are so excited to have you with us today for your pirate adventure. My name is Nicole Giglia and I'm the Associate Director for Student Life, but today I'll be serving as your moderator for the Peer Advisor panel. The peer advisors will share a little bit about themselves and are here to answer any questions about life as a student at Seton Hall. Please feel free to send us questions in the chat box on the right side of your screen. So we're going to kick things off by meeting Anne Marielle Jerez. AM?
Thank you, Nicole. Hi, I'm Anne Marielle Jerez. I am a rising senior, a political science major. I'm from Parsippany, New Jersey, and what brought me to Seton Hall was the nice community, familial feel that the campus had and how nice everyone was. So we're going to kick it over to Ella Small.
Thanks so much, AM. So, like she said, my name is Ella Small. I'm also going to be a senior this year, and my two majors are diplomacy and social work. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I wanted to come to Seton Hall because I wanted to go to a really good school for my chosen major, diplomacy, and I also wanted to have options if I decided that I wanted to change that. I didn't want to go to a school that was too big, but I also just wanted to have lots of opportunities, and I definitely have gotten that with Seton Hall. So up next, I'm happy to introduce my friend Maddie Fetter.
Hi, thank you, Ella. So hi, everybody. I'm Maddie Fetter. I'm going to be a rising junior this year. I'm a double major in public relations and history. I am from Orange County, California, and kind of the reason that brought me to Seton Hall was I was really looking to just kind of grow as a person and really experience a different environment than what I was used to. So being from the West Coast, transitioning to the East Coast, I really wanted to try that East Coast ambiance and really just get to become myself and become more independent. And next, I would like to introduce the lovely Vanessa.
Thank you, Maddie. Like she said, my name is Vanessa Arias. I'm going to be a senior this year as well. My major is biology with a minor in criminal justice. I'm from Paterson, New Jersey, and what brought me to Seton Hall was the fact that it was a smaller school because I really didn't want to go to a really big school or a state school. So I came to Seton Hall because I like the small atmosphere of it and a sense of community because it's a small school.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'd also like to introduce Ashley Stepper, who will be answering some of your questions directly in the chat today. Ashley?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Stepper. I'm also an incoming senior. I'm a visual and sound media major with a concentration in TV production, and I'm from Old Bridge, New Jersey, so 40 minutes south of Seton Hall. And what really brought me to Seton Hall was its close proximity to the city and just the whole campus culture and feeling really at home the first time I stepped foot on campus.
So thank you to all of our panelists today. You'll also have a chance to meet your own PA and first year advisor today at 1 o'clock for PA connections and registration. So be sure to check your SHU email invitation should have been sent there. If you've already accepted the invitation, you should see a join link in the calendar tab of the Teams app. So today our first question is for AM. AM, what is a PA and what do they do to help first year students?
Thank you for that question, Nicole. So a PA or a peer advisor, we like to say is your first friend on campus. So we're going to be able to meet with our students. We're going to be in their university life class to co-teach with the first year advisor. And we're just another resource for first year students. We do have that student experience and we can share our own personal experiences, how we got through our first year, and any question the students have about Seton Hall or the student life here, we can answer.
Thank you, AM. Our next question is for Ella. Ella, as an out-of-state student, what would you say has been the biggest adjustment for you in coming to Seton Hall?
I think the biggest adjustment that I've had to make coming to Seton Hall was that I had to be really intentional about putting myself out there and getting involved. I went to elementary, middle, and high school with a lot of the same people, and so you kind of get comfortable, you kind of find your friend group, and I personally wasn't used to having to branch out all the time, and so coming to Seton Hall definitely, where nobody else from my high school went, meant that I had to reach out to people and find those resources and ask for help when I needed it. And thankfully I had a great peer advisor and a great first year advisor who really pointed me in the right direction for a lot of those things.
Thank you, Ella. Maddie, our next question is for you. What is Seton Hall like on the weekends? What is there to do?
Good question, Nicole. So Seton Hall has tons of activities to do. It's always full of life. We do have a great SAB, which is our Student Activities Board, that puts on tons of great events that are on the weekends for everybody to enjoy. I mean, personally, that was definitely one of the ways that I was able to get involved. They do movie nights, they have concerts come out, they do movies on the green. And I think it's just one of the best ways to get involved. I know sometimes people are like, why do we do stuff on the weekends? Why is there stuff going on? Well, especially we want to make sure that you are feeling accommodated and welcomed into the school, that we want to put on all these events that offer the school and all the activities that we have to do. If you're also maybe a little bit more shy, not into going to movie nights and stuff like that, we do have club sports on campus, which I know if you're big into sports, it's something that's fun to do activity-wise, and going on the weekends to go play games such soccer. We also have rugby and volleyball. So that's something that's definitely really fun. And if you're even feeling adventurous, we do have New York City super accessible to us. It's just a train ride away. And that has been personally one of my favorite things to do on the weekend. But there's tons of life on Seton Hall campus for sure.
Thank you, Maddie. So let's see, Vanessa, is there really a big difference between high school and college coursework? And if so, what is some advice you have for managing that adjustment?
So I definitely think that there is a difference between high school and college coursework, and it's just the fact that now a lot of the responsibility is on you, whereas in high school, a lot of your assignments were probably like aided to you by your teacher and things like that. A lot of the work that you have to do in college is based on you doing most of the work, like you going out of your way if you have a problem with like the assignment and things like that to going to your professor. So I definitely say that the advice for managing like the adjustment, like the difference between high school work and college work, is just knowing when to ask for help, because it's really easy to get overwhelmed and like very confused with the work that you have to do. So just make sure that you're always comfortable with asking for help, like asking your professor or like asking your peer advisor if there's a way that you can get tutoring, if that's the case, or like meeting up with your friends to study, because you're going to notice that it's going to be easy for you to fall behind if you don't keep up with your work, or if you don't take that first step to ask for resources when you need them.
Thank you, Vanessa. So we have some questions coming in about life at Seton Hall as a commuter. Can you share a little bit about your experience and some tips you have for balancing commuter life?
That is a great question. So I am a rising senior and I have been commuting all the past 3 years. My first year, I actually took the train, so I have a little experience with that. That one was a little trickier because you had to be on a strict schedule. It wasn't really my own personal schedule. I had to go with whatever times that the train was available. But that one wasn't overwhelmingly stressful because once I arrived in the South Orange station, there was the school has a shoe fly and it shuttles you around the South Orange Village to and from school. So that made the transition of commuting a lot easier. And now that I'm driving, it's also really great because there's also a lot of parking and it's not as stressful, and now I can work with my own time. And you know, if I have breaks in between classes, I may not have a dorm, but there is a library, there's the Cove, and there's a lot of places that I can get my work done. So by the time I get home, if I get home at a later time, I have all my work done.
Thank you, AM. Ella, what are some tips that you have for students to get involved virtually before the start of classes in the fall?
Yeah, so this is definitely a strange year, a different year for all of us. And so we've been working really hard to make sure that you guys are getting the full experience of your freshman year and that we're making sure that we can connect with you virtually. So your peer advisors are going to be reaching out to you throughout the summer. with different activities that you guys can do as a group and connect with each other, connect with your PAs, and also connect with some of your classmates. We also have our student activities board that is going to be doing a lot of virtual activities as well. So if you're going to be doing all of your schooling virtually, there's still a lot of involvement for you. And if you ever feel like there aren't the types of activities that you want to see, you can always reach out to us as the peer advisors or the student activities board. We're all really receptive to suggestions, and so we really want to make sure that you guys are feeling as involved as possible, and we have a lot of really great stuff planned.
Thank you, Ella. So Maddie, you are also from out of state. Can you tell us what it's like to live on campus and any suggestions you have for students who are coming from a distance?
Of course. So as she said, I'm an out-of-state student along with Ella, and living on campus, I know can definitely be a little bit intimidating at first. For many of you, this could be your first time being away from home, but I'm happy to say both my dorming experiences, both in lower class when I was a freshman in Bolin, I was in Bolin, and then going to be in an upper class dorm at Xavier, I can say both of them felt like a second home. The community within the actual dorms is amazing. You know, you walk around, there's so many people, it's always full of life, always full of stuff going on. Living on campus, I know sometimes, you know, when you're trying to move all this stuff into this new room, you always forget stuff. So just like prepare for that, because I feel like that's just part of it, you know, because you never know what to truly expect when you're going through the process. But one thing that I will say is that when you're in your dorms and when you're on your floor, I would definitely just try to be super involved. And when you see people, say hi, make friends on your dorm floor, because those people are going to become who you see on a constant day-to-day basis. And living on campus is also just so great because you're so close to everything. You're close to the dining hall, you're close to the library, you're close to classes. So let's say you're running late for classes, you're right there. You're right there on campus. Also, you're really close to the rec center for all of you that like to go to the gym. And it's just a really great way of being accessible to everything on campus, but also making new friends and creating new opportunities by working and living with the people that you're going to be seeing and graduating with for the next couple of years. So that's what I have to say about being on campus.
Thank you, Maddie. Vanessa, we have a lot of questions coming in about fraternity and sorority life at Seton Hall. Can you tell us what the process is if a student is interested in joining Greek life and what your experience has been like so far?
Of course. Thank you, Nicole. So as Nicole said, I am in a sorority on campus. It's Lambda Tau Omega Sorority Incorporated, which is a multicultural sorority. So first I'm going to answer the part about like what my experience has been like. So I feel like definitely joining Greek life on campus has made being on campus and being at Seton Hall, like it has definitely added to my experience because it really gives me this like another sense of family because it makes me feel like I found a home within a home. So I just like the fact of knowing that like in joining my sorority that I have a bunch of people that I can go to for literally anything and know that they'll always be there, like even once I graduate from college. And besides just that sense of family and like that sense of home, it also benefits me like in terms of my academics and also what I would want to do eventually when I graduate because of networking. So you never know like who you know in the Greek community and who can be there for you if you ever need anything outside of my organization, literally in any organization on campus. So that's been really beneficial. And the process for joining Greek life depends on the organization and what council they fall under. So for most IFC and TPC organizations, they do have like a recruitment weekend. And for other organizations, they do more like multicultural organizations and NPHC organizations, they do more holding informationals and things like that and having particular events that way. So you can like the process is a little different, but depending on what it is, you'll see like once the semester starts, what that's going to be like as we have more like flyers and things like that promoting each organization. So that's what I have to say about Greek life.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, so our next question is for AM. What tips do you have for getting involved and how would a student go about joining clubs?
So My advice to all incoming students is definitely get involved. During the first week, we have the involvement fair. We have over 150 organizations on campus. So you can always find something within your classes. If you see someone wearing either like a fraternity or sorority shirt or student activities board t-shirt, you can ask them questions if you're interested in their organization. Even on random days on the green or right outside the main cafeteria, there's always like a booth or a table there of an organization. You can ask questions there. They sometimes have like bake sales and things like that. And if you can't find anything that you're interested in, I know the student government has applications the beginning of the semester if you want to start your own club or organization on campus. So definitely get involved. We have so many things to offer, and it's a great way to connect and make friends and make Seton Hall your home.
Thank you, AM. Ella, we have some students asking for advice on how to be organized and good time management tips. What can you share with them?
So, like Vanessa said earlier, when you come to college, the responsibility is a lot on you to stay organized and to stay on top of your work. So I'm really glad that there are people asking questions about this. There are a few different things that I've used throughout my time in college to help me stay organized. One of them is a physical planner, because if I write down my assignments, I'm more likely to remember them. And I know that a lot of people just like to put it in their phones, and that's totally cool too. But for me, it definitely sticks in my head better if I see it on a calendar. I also do use my Outlook calendar to schedule like appointments and my classes and that sort of stuff. And that's been really helpful because then I can get a reminder on my phone. So even if I lose track of time, then I'll get a reminder 15 minutes before I have to be somewhere. So then I'm not missing classes and that sort of thing. And then the other thing that has really helped me stay organized is my professor's syllabi. So for every class, your professor will give you a syllabus outlining the different topics that you'll go through throughout the semester and your assignments. And so it's really helpful to print that out, to have it with you. I like to highlight the assignments I've already done, and then you can keep track of what you've already done and what still needs to be done. So those are just some tips and tricks for how to stay organized in college.
Thank you, Ella. Maddie, you mentioned earlier club sports and intramurals. Can you tell us how a student can get involved in that? And if you've been on an intramural team, what has that been like?
Yes, of course. So I personally am on the women's club soccer team here. I have been since I was a freshman. So depending on the sport and what time they do tryouts, I believe flyers just start going up everywhere, and they definitely do a good job of advertising it, so you can't miss it. It is just probably one of my favorite ways to get involved, because that was the first thing I joined on campus, was that club soccer team. And it just kind of became like a little reminder of home, because I did club soccer when I was at home. So that was something that was really special to me. And we also do have a men's soccer team, men's and women's volleyball team, and then a men's rugby team as far as club sports. And those are just all some great ways to get involved. But intramurals are probably my favorite thing to do. I've done every single one of them. So basically you just get together like a group of friends, and you can like pick what level you want to do. We have intramurals, dodgeball, basketball, volleyball, soccer, flag football. I mean, we name it. And it's just so much fun, because you just kind of have a good time. If you're playing on like the lower level where you're just like, hey, I want to have fun and, hang out with my friends. Then you have like the really intense level where it's like people are like, no, I want to win. So intramurals are just definitely a way to just kind of be more involved. You meet all these different people through it. You see the same people sometimes when you're doing all the intramural sports, and that's always a treat. That's definitely a way that I would say getting involved could be really helpful, because it also gives you something to do on the weekdays and weekends, depending on what sport or intramural that you choose.
Thank you, Maddie. Okay, Vanessa, how do students get jobs on campus?
So the easiest way is probably going on the school website and searching it up. So if you go on Google and then search up like Seton Hall jobs or jobs at Seton Hall University, you'll get a link that comes up and it lists essentially every job available on campus. And it even has like a filter where you can filter the different jobs that you want if you're looking for work study, if you're looking part-time, if you're a student worker. So I would definitely recommend like going on the school website and searching through that. And also, besides that, some jobs are advertised on campus, like for example, being a peer advisor, that is advertised on campus because we do have information sessions about that. But other things, like you can definitely just search it up like on the school website, and there are literally a bunch of jobs there that you probably don't even know exist like on campus. So definitely search through that tab if you're interested in getting a job on campus.
Thank you, Vanessa. Am, our next question is for you. So not exactly a job on campus, but the question is about internships. How do students get internships? When is a good time to start looking for one?
That is a very important question. Internships are very big, and I don't think it's too early to ever start looking for one. You might not necessarily want to intern right away, but each semester the career fair hosts the Career Center hosts a career fair, and there's so many employers that go there just trying to look for things. So if you're interested, it doesn't hurt to go and attend. You can practice your networking skill, your pitch to these employers, and they usually have a bunch of brochures about the job description or the field that they work in. The Career Center is very great. Each student gets an advisor that they work with there. They can help you with your interview skills, resume building, how to get started on LinkedIn, and of course your peers and your professors. I know within my political science department, we always get emails about internships, or my professors will mention things about people that they know who are looking for interns, or past alumni will come in and talk about where they've interned or if they're looking for interns. So definitely start building those connections with your peers around you, because they're also a really great resource, as well as the Career Center.
Thank you. Okay, Maddie, so we want to know about game day at Seton Hall. What's it like to go to a men's basketball game at the Prudential Center? How do they get tickets? How do they get to the center?
Yes, absolutely. Game day, best day. So basketball game and basketball season is just probably one of the most energetic things on campus ever. I mean, what I always said was, we're a small school with big school spirit. So getting to the basketball game sometimes seems a little bit daunting at first, but they actually try to make it really easy. So what you're going to do is that before basketball games, they announce, okay, so we're going to have buses come in, take you guys from the school to Prudential. And they usually start going 2 hours before. So you could get, and if you want to get that front row seat, you could get to the Prudential Center through the buses an hour before. And then an hour before the game, so it's like 2 hours. So an hour before the game, they let you guys all in. You go, you rush down, try to get the best seat possible. And then you'll just kind of hang out, wait for the games to start. So you'd get bused back and forth from Prudential to back to Seton Hall. And that's all you're just going to be able to get it done through email to be able to see where you can get the tickets, or the PirateNet app, I believe. I'm blanking on what it's called. I apologize about that. But then when you're trying to get back to the game, you would just go to the same spots where the buses are, and they'll take you right back. And all this is dropped off and started at the Walsh Gym. And you can't miss it. Everybody's lining up. Everybody's excited. You'll hear all the noise and the commotion. As far as getting tickets, I believe our Bluebeard Army, which is in charge of basketball games and setting up and taking down, they do email out when season tickets are going to be available, as well as the Athletic Center will do that too. So definitely just keep an eye on for that. I highly recommend getting season tickets. It is probably one of the best ways to show your school spirit by going to those games and attending. And even if you can't make all of them, going to a couple of them would be awesome. Don't forget to show your school spirit.
Thank you, Maddie. Okay, Ella, can you tell us what your favorite study spot on campus is?
That's actually a hard one, because I honestly love so many different spots on campus for when I'm doing different things. If it's like right before a test and I need to be super focused, then I'll go to the 3rd or 4th floor of the library because those are our quiet floors, and we have little cubicles where you can just be by yourself, and that really helps me focus. But if I'm working on a group project or if I'm studying for my Arabic tests, then I like to have people with me, and so we'll be on the 2nd floor of the library, which is more communal space. It's a little bit louder, and sometimes we'll even go find an empty classroom where we can write on the whiteboards, or we'll get a study room in the library that also have whiteboards, and then we can sort of just hang out and be with each other and still be studying. I also, when it's warm enough, love to go and do some of my work out on the green. We have a lot of really awesome places to get work done all over campus, depending on if you need a quieter area or if you need some noise around you to help you focus too.
Thank you, Ella. All right, Vanessa, so can you tell us how a student would change their majors? Who is the first person they should talk to? And also, we have a student who wants to know what it's like to be a criminal justice major. So if you want to go ahead and give a pitch for your major, go for it.
Definitely. So changing your major, I always recommend going to your advisor. So for the incoming freshman, that would be your first year freshman advisor, because they'll really be able to help you like make an informed decision and things like that if that is the route you want to take. So I remember when I was a freshman, I wanted to make my minor psychology, but then I talked to my advisor and I saw the required courses for it, and once I saw it, I just realized that that wasn't really something that I was interested in, and he told me to go through the little the catalog to look through anything that was interesting and then come back to him, and I found out about my criminal justice, the minors, so that's where I am now. And in terms of like my criminal justice minor, I really do enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I find that it's like a little hobby that I have, which is why I made it my minor. I find that I really do enjoy the professors. Like a lot of them tend to be like involved in the law like world. My professor last semester, she's actually a persecutor, so that was really interesting, and she did like bring us a lot of speakers and things like that, like in the criminal justice world. So I really did like that. A lot of the professors there I find are really passionate like about criminal justice and really want to give you like that experience. So that's my experience with criminal justice. But to go back to the overarching question, definitely talk to your advisor, because like I said, they'll definitely be able to help you make a more informed decision like mine did when helping me find out like the requirements and things like that required for changing anything like that.
Thank you, Vanessa. So we have a lot of questions coming in about housing and what it'll look like in the fall. So housing did announce that there'll be a low density model, meaning that there will be only double rooms on campus. So you should have received an email earlier this month telling you about roommate selection, which is now open, and it'll be open until June 30th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And all assignments will be sent out by July 6th, which it will be sent by the housing office, and hopefully we'll have some more details about what life will be like in the fall shortly. But another question about life on campus is about food. So Am, can you tell us about the food on campus and what your favorite meal from the CAF is?
Food, of course, everyone wants to know what kind of food Seton Hall serves. So as a commuter, I don't have a commuter plan to get into the main CAF, but I have a lot of friends who have guest swipes, and I have been swiped in. Since they've redone the setup of the CAF, they have like meals of the day, but I know everyone's favorite day are nugget or tender days, which I believe are on Wednesdays. So there's always fries there. I know you can order something like fries, and you can add, there's a cheese sauce thing right next to it. There's also a sushi bar during dinner time, which is really great. But my personal favorite is upstairs. It's not in the main cafeteria, it's in the Cove. I always get a quesadilla there, so that's my favorite meal. There's also Jersey Mike's on campus. We have pizza. There's Pirate Express if you want like a quick little packaged sandwich or something. And there's also Starbucks and Dunkin', which of course Dunkin' is a favorite. among us Seton Hall Pirates. So there's a lot the campus could offer with food.
Thank you. And for those students who are interested in exploring the downtown, Ella, can you tell us how do you get to downtown South Orange, and what sort of are your favorite places down there?
Yeah, I love going downtown. So we have a a bus sort of system for our campus called the Shoe Fly. It makes stops at different points along campus, and it also makes stops downtown. It'll stop by I believe it's Walgreens. It used to be Rite Aid, but I think it just changed to Walgreens. And it'll make stops by our off-campus housing Aura and also by the train station. So if you want to go into the city, then you can take the Shoe Fly down to the train station. And downtown is really awesome. It has a lot of great restaurants and different things to do. During the warmer months, they'll have music festivals there once a week. There's also a farmer's market down there, and there's a lot of really great restaurants. Some of the favorites of students are BGR and Tito's. And it's just really fun to walk around and explore down there. There's some really great parks. Something that I really like about Seton Hall is that we're sort of ingrained with the community around us. So South Orange isn't just a college town. There's lots of college students there, obviously, but it's a community in and of itself. And so for me, it's always really fun to go out into that community and just try to interact more with this community that we're a part of. It's so beautiful, and there's so much there to explore.
Thank you, Ella. Okay, so we have some questions coming in about meeting your first year advisor. So at 1 o'clock, you'll be able to meet your first year advisor for registration and your own PA, which could be one of the ladies on our panel. And at that time, you'll get to know them a little bit more, and they'll talk to you about the fall and what your classes will look like. So be sure to check your Seton Hall email to find that invitation. If you've already accepted it, it'll be on your calendar, and you just click the join link at 1 o'clock. But in that same topic area, Maddie, what advice do you have for students who are nervous about talking to their faculty members? What would you do?
So I know sometimes talking to teachers, but now professors can be a little bit daunting and challenging. But honestly, in my experience, and what I would say, because I definitely was nervous too, is they want you to come and talk to them. They want to know you. They want to get to know you, because if you become recognizable by name instead of, just being like another student in the classroom, then you are able to create that connection. And these could be people that are helping you, apply for internships or connecting you to people that can set you up, as well as these are people that, are grading your stuff. And if you go in and you're like, hey, I need help on this, like, don't ever be afraid or shy to do that. Like, they are there for you. They want to hear from you. And that's why I think also the small school environment is so important with the professors too, is because your classrooms are going to be more intimate. The size is going to be a little bit smaller. So it's going to be easier to have that relationship with a professor and get to know them, and they can get to know you, your style of work and how you operate. And then, like I said earlier, they can definitely help you with getting internships and maybe even a job in the future. I know for some people, being close with professors, it is that step of, making that move for your future and for your career, but also it can just help you beneficially in the classroom, because being close with professors allows you to excel in that class, as well as to be able to work with professionals and talk like a professional. Even when you're writing an email or just talking in person, creating those relationships with professors allows you to succeed definitely more in your classes.
Thank you, Maddie. So Am, can you talk about the rec center? Is it free for students? Where is it? And how do you get in?
The rec center is available to any Seton Hall student. All you need is your ID, and they swipe you in at the front desk, and you can go right in. You could use any of the facilities. The gym is there. There are about 3 floors. So the basement floor, there are locker rooms for men and women. All you need to do is just swipe in your card once again. Your ID, and if you have your own lock, you can put it on there, and you can choose any locker and just leave your stuff in there. There's also showers in there, so after working out, you can use those. there's a lot of new equipment that they put in, of course, treadmills and rowing machine, and there's weights and stuff. There's also a yoga room. Personally, I like to use the yoga room because they do have mats, and if you don't have your own mat, they also provide you with them. And I use that, when I'm in the gym to just do my ab exercises and things. But if you want to play basketball, there's a basketball area right before you enter the gym. It's very big. It's a really vast area. There's multiple hoops. Usually there's pickup games that a lot of people play. There's always someone playing basketball or something. There's also a track around it. So if you don't want to go on the treadmill and run and just want to kind of run freely, you can. So the rec center is available to any student. All you need is your ID, and it's a really great place. I personally like to go there to just de-stress and like exercise. So definitely use the rec center.
Thank you, AM. Maddie, we have a question about advice on how to make friends. What's an easy way to do that?
So all the panelists have definitely touched on this topic, but the easiest way to make friends is just to get involved. And, we do try to provide tons of different opportunities for you to go and branch out and meet new people. So, starting kind of with the involvement fair that AM touched upon earlier. So we have that hopefully in the first week for you guys. And that's a great way just to see all these clubs and organizations on campus that are offered to you. And that can kind of help you find your little home or your little group of friends on campus, because I know sometimes it's at first a little bit daunting, but everybody wants to meet new people. Everybody wants to get involved. So that is going to be something that is definitely in your benefit. And working and being around all these different people in the dorms, especially as freshmen, you're going to see the same faces over and over again. And like I said earlier, too, making friends on your dorm floor or even just with your suite mates and getting closer with your roommate, that's also super important. I know I clung to my roommates a lot in the beginning as people like safety net, just to make sure I always had somebody whenever I would go to involvement fairs or go to big events on campus that SAB was holding. But definitely just trying to branch out and just take a little bit step out of the comfort zone will be so beneficial for you, because it's just going to help you meet all these new people and make all these new friends for sure.
Thank you, Maddie. So with all of this, it sounds like coming to college can be overwhelming for some people. Vanessa, what are some resources on campus to help sort of navigate this adjustment?
That's a great question, Nicole. So our best resource that I think can really help with being overwhelmed is our counseling and psychological services on campus, which is also known as CAPS. They're really there for you anytime. And now I think they're getting started with like a 24-hour, like a way to get in contact with them 24 hours if it's really urgent. So I always recommend to my students going to CAPS if they really need anything. And they're not just there if you're like in a dire situation. Like they really are there for you for anything. If you just need somebody to talk to, if they're available, they will definitely do that with you. And they also hold a bunch of different workshops and things like that. Like I said, if it's not like a dire situation, like stress management workshops or anxiety workshops, meditation workshops, and things like that. So I definitely recommend going to CAPS if you're definitely feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, they're really nice people and they're always there for you, especially if like you're feeling overwhelmed. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an extreme situation for you to go to them.
Thank you, Vanessa. And in terms of adjusting academically, Ella, can you tell us about the Academic Resource Center and how a student can get tutoring?
Yeah, so I actually work with the Academic Resource Center, or the ARC, helping tutor. So if you are struggling in any of your classes, or even if you're not, if you want to stay ahead, if you want to get good study tips, the ARC has tutors for basically every subject that you can think of. And if they don't have a tutor for the exact subject you're looking for, you can always email and we'll find someone who can help you. So we'll talk more about how to schedule appointments at our ULife class and throughout the summer and when we come back to classes in the fall. But when you schedule an appointment, you'll be able to select what class you're looking for help with, and then you'll be able to see what tutors are there. And when you go to tutoring, Maybe it'll be virtual, maybe it'll be in person, but either way, your tutor will help you figure out what works best for you. Maybe they'll help you take notes or they'll help you study. And I would definitely say that the best thing you can do for yourself in terms of tutoring is to go early. Start going before you are behind. Start going as soon as possible, because you don't want to get behind and then have to play catch up. It's better if you're learning those skills throughout the whole semester, and then you'll be able to also form a relationship with your tutor, and they'll be able to understand how you learn best, and you'll be able to understand how they're learning along with you, and you guys will be able to work really well together.
Thank you, Ella. So AM, many of our first year students will not have had the chance to have been on campus before. How do you suggest that they work on navigating the buildings and finding their way around the campus?
So for anyone, a new environment can be stressful, especially if you haven't really visited before. So today within your sessions, if you ask your peer advisor, we have a map, and we can show you around on campus if you're nervous about it, what the buildings are called and things like that. My peer advisor my first year was really great. The day before classes, she asked if anyone wanted a tour of campus, and of course I jumped at it, and ever since I've been a PA, the day before classes start, I always offer to my students if they want to go on a tour. And although it's a small campus, sometimes it is a new environment, so you may feel like you're lost, you don't know where things are, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it, and we can send you like a map. There's always a map, and we can ask your peer advisor and we can send that out to the students, but definitely ask your peer advisor. There's always people around campus, so if on your first day, if you still don't know where things are, you can always ask another student and they'll help you out.
Thank you. All right, Vanessa, we've had a few questions about where to get some sweet shoe apparel, like what you're wearing today.
Thank you. So the best place to get like any shoe apparel or anything like that is definitely the bookstore. So we have our bookstore on campus, which is in Duffy Hall, and they literally have anything and everything under the sun. Like, you'll be surprised how many things they have: sweatpants, crop tops, t-shirts, like literally anything. And if you don't even want like clothes, they have mugs and like little banners and things like that. There's literally everything and anything. So definitely go to the bookstore if you want anything. Like, across my almost 4 years now, I've definitely spent like a countless amount of money there. So I definitely recommend going to the bookstore. They have literally anything and everything you would ever need, like to wear and have to rep Seton Hall.
And Vanessa, how many free t-shirts would you say you've gotten since you've been at Seton Hall?
I have gotten an incredible amount of free t-shirts. Like, literally just walking around campus, there's always somebody giving away a free t-shirt.
Thank you. All right, so we have time for one more question that I'm going to ask to each of our panelists, and we'll start with Ashley. What is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
Oh, that's so hard, Nicole. But definitely, I think the first basketball game of the season, because everyone is all decked in blue, everyone's lining up for the buses, and honestly, just like that atmosphere at Prudential, especially because everyone's so excited, is like truly like electric.
Thank you, Ashley. AM, you're up next. What is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
Just like Ashley said, of course, basketball season. I'm a very big basketball fan, so we love that atmosphere, especially during March Madness or the Big East tournament. You can feel the school buzz, and it's a really great time. And another one of my favorites is Christmas time. We were, I think in the past, voted the #1 Christmas school in the nation, and student activities board hands out blue Santa hats, and there's hot chocolate, and there's performances and stuff before we light our tree. So that's another favorite event of mine.
Thank you. Ella, what about you? What's your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
I think that my favorite Seton Hall tradition is actually throughout the semester, usually right around midterms or finals, we have dogs come on campus and they'll just wander around and you can pet them and hang out with them. There's one that's name is Tank and he's just huge and they're so sweet and they help so much with stress and anxiety. And I just love animals, and so I really look forward to when those dogs come on campus.
Thanks, Ella. Maddie, what about you? What's your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
Now, I definitely just got to go off of AM and Ashley, like the basketball games. I mean, I've just been a lover of basketball, especially college basketball since I was young, because my family, and then going to Seton Hall and them being so successful in everything they do has just been awesome to experience. I was there when we beat Kentucky, and that was probably the best moment of my life. So just stuff like that. Another thing that I wanted to say beyond basketball too is green season for sure, which usually happens in early fall, late spring when it's super warm out and people go out and they lay blankets on the middle of our campus, which is the big green area, and people bring hammocks and they're playing soccer and throwing footballs, and it's just like there's music and it's just so lively, and you can definitely get a sense of community and how we're all just, a bunch of college students just hanging out, doing homework, laying on the green, relaxing. So I definitely like that for sure.
Thank you. Vanessa, if you can tell us your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event.
So I'm definitely going off of AM and Ella. My favorite tradition is definitely Christmas at the Hall, which is shocking because I'm usually not one for the big Christmas spirit, but I just really love the whole atmosphere on campus when we have Christmas at the Hall, because it's freezing cold outside, and then everybody's usually outside with the hot chocolate, and you see all of your friends. And maybe if you haven't seen some people that you want to talk to in a while, you usually see them walking around on the green when during Christmas time, and they have this big light thing that they put over the seal with fake snow and stuff, and it's really, really pretty, and it's really the whole atmosphere, even though it's really, really cold, it's really, really fun, and it's really nice to take the pictures and things like that by the tree, and when the lights go on the tree, it's just really, really exciting, the countdown that we have. So I really love Christmas at the Hall, and also definitely when they bring the dogs on campus, even though I'm allergic, I will be there petting those dogs, number one.
Thank you, Vanessa. So that's all the time we have for today. If we didn't get to your question, we'll be adding them to a frequently asked questions page on our website. But we also encourage you to ask your PA throughout Part Adventure today. Your next session will be meeting your PA and your first year advisor, which you can join by clicking on the join link in your calendar on the Teams app or going into your email to make sure that you've accepted the invitation. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.